guys, so today I wanted to do a tag video. I haven't filmed a tag video in quite a long time, so I thought I would jump right in with the New York Times by the Book tag, which was created by Mary Berg. I will link down below her YouTube channel. I've been really enjoying her videos and I really enjoy this tag. I've been really loving watching everyone's videos. So the first question is, what book is on your nightstand right now? So I wanted to answer this in two parts. First of all, I'll share with you the book I'm currently reading, which is The Story of a New Name by Elena Ferrante. I'm not sure if you guys watched my book haul, which was like my coming back to booktube book haul. I will leave a link to it down below, but I discussed that I started reading the Neapolitan novels, of which this is the second book, and I've been really swept up in the novels. I've been loving them. I've rushed into the second book. I'm almost done the second book. I have about 90 pages, 80-90 pages left. Two other books that are on my nightstand is The Glass Menagerie, which is a play by Tennessee Williams. So one of my coworkers read this book in the fall and she lent it to me I think like 2 months ago, and I still haven't read it, and I really need to read it because I don't like borrowing books and then forgetting to give them back, so I'm hoping to read this really soon. And the other book I have on my nightstand is Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales. It's a collection of his fairy tales. I've read some of them. I'm actually about halfway through, so I'm about this much through it. For a while I was reading about 1 or 2 fairy tales a night, but then I stopped doing that, so I want to pick that up again. So I've had it on my nightstand hoping I'll end up reading it, but in the end I usually end up reading the book I'm currently reading before bed. So I need to do a better job of reading this. So the second question is, what was the last truly great book you read? And I've read a lot of really great books over the past couple of months, but a truly great book I feel is a very specific type of book, maybe something that has a lot of literary value, something that's very beautifully written, that was enjoyable to read maybe or maybe not. But the book I chose is Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. I think I mentioned this book in my top 5 books of 2015, so I will leave a link to that down below. I loved this book. I thought it was beautifully written. It's almost a perfect book. So I think that this was definitely the last truly great book I read. The next question is, if you could meet any writer, dead or alive, who would you meet and what would you ask them? And I chose Junot Diaz. As you guys probably know, I love his books. I've read all 3 of them, and I think that the question I would ask him is, when is he publishing another book? So the next question is, what books might we be surprised to find on your shelves? So I don't think that there are many books on my shelves that you would be necessarily surprised to see, but I did think of a couple of things. So when I was in university, I studied political science. I studied a lot of international relations, but I also did a lot of courses on political theory. I thought I would share with you some of the books that I read in my university courses for political theory. I have given away a lot of them, but I do have quite a few still. So for example, I have The Law of Peoples by John Rawls, which I read in a political theory class in my second year of university. I have 5 Dialogues by Plato. I have Selected Political Writings as well as The Prince by Machiavelli. I also have Second Treatise of Government. I have a couple of, I have quite a few of the books in the Hackett series because they're quite cheap and a lot of my professors would assign these books. So I have about maybe 10 books left over from university. I just don't want to part with them, and I have a lot of strong feelings and a lot of memories attached to my university days. So I don't know if that's necessarily surprising because I have said in the past that I studied political science, but it's not necessarily the type of books that I read nowadays, so maybe it is a bit surprising to some of you. The next question is, how do you organize your personal library? And I'm not sure how to answer this either because on the one hand, I do like to alphabetize my fiction by author, although sometimes, as you can see behind me, it's a bit disorganized, and with nonfiction I really don't know how to organize it, so I kind of just put everything haphazardly on my shelves. One day I do plan on organizing my nonfiction, but I'm not sure how I want to do it. So if you guys have any ideas on how to organize nonfiction, I'd be really interested. So the next question is there any book that you've always meant to read but haven't gotten around to yet, or any book that you're embarrassed not to have read? And the only thing that really comes to mind is Anna Karenina, because I've never actually read anything by Tolstoy and I've heard such great things, but I've never gotten around to it, and I'm not even that interested right now in picking it up, but I know that it's in general a book I'm interested in reading, but at the moment I don't think I'll get around to it anytime soon. The next question is to pick out a book that you either didn't finish or a book that you feel like you were supposed to like but you didn't like, so it was an overrated read for you. So the last book I rated, I think 2 stars, 2 or 1 stars, was Daydreams of Angels by Heather O'Neill, and I had such high expectations for this book, and it started out really strongly. So it's a collection of short stories, and some of the short stories at the beginning of the book are really amazing. They're so funny, they're so quick, they're so witty, and then the rest of the collection really just fell flat for me. I didn't like most of the stories in the book. I felt bored through a lot of the stories. I found some of them kind of relied on cliches, and I was just really disappointed. The next question is, what kind of stories are you drawn to, or is there anything that you steer clear of? So I'm drawn to classics. I really enjoy, I guess, what we call literary fiction. I'm not sure if I really like that term, but that's what I tend to be drawn to. I don't tend to pick up science fiction or fantasy or romance, not because I don't like those genres, it's just that I don't know where to start, especially with fantasy or science fiction. Those are definitely genres that I'm interested in, it's just I don't know where to start. So the next question is, if you could recommend the president any book, what would it be? So I'm gonna actually recommend a book to our Prime Minister. Since I'm not American, I'm Canadian, so I just feel like I could just, address this to our Prime Minister. So I would recommend a book that I would recommend to everyone, and I feel like not a lot of people have read it. It's A Small Place by Jamaica Kincaid. I think I made a video about memoirs and I discussed this book, and the reason I recommend it is because it's such a great look at colonialism, at tourism, and it's just a beautifully written book. So the next question is, what do you plan to read next? So I have 2 options. One is Swamplandia by Karen Russell, which I've heard great things about and I've been meaning to read for a really long time. The second book, and a book that I'm definitely going to be reading very soon, is Those Who Leave and Those Who Stay by Elena Ferrante. So as I mentioned earlier on in the video, I'm currently reading the second Neapolitan novel, and I've been loving the series, and I think that the second book ends on a cliffhanger, so I'm probably going to want to pick up the third book very soon. So now I want to tag a couple people. I'd like to tag Kelly from What Kelly Reads. I'd like to tag Tanya from List Obsessed Reader. I'd also like to tag Jean from Bookish Thoughts, and Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings. I hope you guys all do the tag. If you've already done the tag, I'm sorry, I tried to check if you guys have done the tag, but a lot of people have done this tag. Like I said earlier, I really like this tag, and I hope that you go and check out Mary Berg's channel because she has a really great channel and her videos are very interesting. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys soon.